We are all living in a world full of turbulence and constant change, making our minds easily confused and anxious. Amidst the hustle and bustle of life, perhaps at times we ask ourselves, what is true happiness? How can we live without being swept away by the suffering and worries of life? The teachings of the Buddha offer us profoundly meaningful lessons that not only help us understand the nature of life, but also open the path to inner peace and freedom. These lessons are not exclusively for monks, but for all of us, those who are seeking a meaningful and truly happy life. In life, we are often caught in the whirlpool of desires, fears, and negative emotions. We crave wealth, fame, and love, but fear losing what we have. We are easily influenced by feelings of resentment, jealousy, or competition. These things tire our souls and prevent us from experiencing the simple joys of life. However, the Buddha pointed out that happiness is not something distant, nor does it lie in external things. It always resides within us, waiting to be recognized. In this video, we will explore 10 insights from the Buddha's teachings, providing guidance on living a peaceful life, free from the bindings of suffering and meaningless attachments. Lessons such as impermanence, karma, compassion, gratitude, and letting go will be presented in an accessible yet profound way, helping us better understand the essence of life and the interconnectedness of all things. Through this, we will learn to live with mindfulness, gratitude, and love, finding true joy and freedom. These are not lofty philosophies or complex theories, but simple truths, evident realities that we sometimes overlook. Join me in discovering these truths to live more fully, love more deeply, and find peace within ourselves. Impermanence, karma, and compassion, profound lessons from the Buddha. Let us take a moment to look at life, to reflect on the things we often overlook or forget amidst our busyness and worries. The Buddha taught us many lessons about life, each one like a guiding light, helping us find peace, true happiness, and transcend the sorrows of this existence. His 10 insights are not lofty ideals, but simple truths with immense power to transform the way we perceive and face life. The first lesson the Buddha taught is about impermanence. Everything in life is transient. From our bodies and relationships to the material possessions we accumulate, nothing remains unchanged forever. Like a flowing river, each moment moves and transforms. If we understand and accept impermanence, much of our suffering will fade. When faced with loss, we will no longer feel unbearable sorrow because we recognize it as a natural law. When we experience joy, we will cherish it even more, knowing it cannot last forever. Are we seeking stability and absolute certainty in this life? The truth is, absolute stability does not exist. Instead of searching for security in transient things, we should seek refuge in our own minds. When we deeply understand that change is the essence of all things, we will no longer fear uncertainty or cling to what we cannot hold. Our hearts will feel lighter and more serene. The second insight is about karma. What we are experiencing today is the result of the actions and thoughts we have cultivated in the past. No one but ourselves determines our destiny. When we sow seeds of goodness, we will reap good results. When we sow hatred or resentment, bitter fruits will come our way. Life is neither a punishment nor a reward from a supernatural force. It is the natural outcome of what we have done and are doing. To change our lives, we must first change our thoughts and actions. We can ask ourselves, what seeds are we planting today? Words of love and acts of kindness will create good karma, bringing joy and peace. Conversely, negative thoughts and hurtful words will weigh heavily on our hearts, making us feel weary and troubled. Therefore, let us start with the smallest things: a smile, a kind word, or an act of helping others. This is how we cultivate good karma and transform negative karma. The third insight, craving and attachment. The Buddha taught us that craving, endless desire, is the root of suffering. We often yearn for things we do not have, and when we do obtain them, we fear losing them. This constant clinging Grasping and insatiable longing binds our minds and breeds unease. Craving is like a fire. The more we feed it, the stronger it burns, leaving us thirstier than before. To escape suffering, we must learn to let go of our desires, to embrace contentment, and to find satisfaction in what we already have. True happiness does not come from how much we possess, but from knowing when we have enough. When we realize that material things and worldly fame do not bring lasting joy, we will stop chasing them blindly. Happiness is found in simplicity, acceptance, and gratitude for what we have. Whenever we feel the rise of craving, we should pause and ask ourselves, will this truly bring me happiness, or will it only add to my worries and chains of attachment? The fourth insight, compassion. The Buddha taught that compassion is the key to unlocking peace. When we love without expectation, when we help others without seeking something in return, we find true joy. Compassion allows us to see the suffering of others, to understand and to share in their burdens. Living with compassion dispels loneliness, for we recognize that everyone is walking this shared path, carrying their own pains and struggles. Compassion not only brings happiness to others, but also fosters peace within ourselves. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the chains of resentment. When we help others, we plant the seeds of happiness within our own hearts. Life becomes more meaningful when we love and share. Reflect on your own life. Aren't the happiest moments those when you were able to help someone, when you brought joy to another without expecting anything in return? The fifth insight, acceptance and letting go. We often suffer because we resist what cannot be changed. However, if we understand that life does not always go as we wish and learn to accept what is happening, we will find inner peace. Acceptance does not mean surrendering. It means recognizing that some things are beyond our control. Rather than fighting against them, we choose to free our minds from their hold. Letting go of what we cannot keep and accepting what cannot be changed is the path to inner tranquility. To release attachment and embrace life's impermanence is to step toward genuine peace within ourselves. Gratitude and compassion, keys to unlocking true happiness. We have reflected on the Buddha's teachings on impermanence, karma, craving, and compassion. Now let us delve into gratitude and compassion, two essential elements that open the door to true happiness, bringing peace and serenity to our souls. Gratitude is not merely the joy we feel when we receive something. It is a way of living, a profound understanding of the value of everything around us. We can live more fully and happily if we learn to appreciate the simple things in life. The fresh morning air, a friend's smile, or even a delicious meal. Perhaps we do not realize that gratitude is a magical form of energy. When we live with gratitude, we begin to see that life is inherently abundant, profoundly beautiful, and that every moment is a gift. Often, we only feel grateful when something significant happens or when we receive help. But if we look more closely, we will see that life constantly provides us with countless wonders that we often take for granted. Consider your own body. Every breath, every heartbeat is a miraculous process that sustains us. Even as you listen to these words, countless mechanisms within your body are working together to give you life. Gratitude is not just for external blessings. It also means appreciating yourself and the very life you possess. When we embrace gratitude, we are no longer swept away by comparisons or feelings of lack. The desires and cravings that once consumed us gradually fade, and we find contentment in what we already have. Gratitude helps us let go of attachment and reveals that true happiness does not come from how much we own, but from recognizing and cherishing what we already have. Have you ever wondered, are we living so fast that we overlook the precious things right beside us? Gratitude as the foundation for compassion. Gratitude is also the foundation for developing compassion. When we realize that everything we have is the result of interconnected causes and conditions, that nothing exists independently, we begin to feel a deep sense of connection with others. We come to understand that no one is entirely self-sufficient and that life becomes meaningful through sharing, helping, and loving one another. Compassion is an extension of gratitude. When we are grateful for life, we naturally want to share that joy with others and help those in need so they too can experience happiness. The Buddha taught that compassion is the gateway to enlightenment. Compassion is not pity, it is a profound understanding of others' suffering and a sincere desire to help them overcome it. When we live with compassion, we are no longer dominated by negative emotions like envy, jealousy, or resentment. Compassion allows us to see that all beings are enduring their own struggles, and instead of judging or blaming them, we can choose to share kindness and love. The power of forgiveness and compassion. Do you ever find it difficult to forgive someone? When we understand that the person who hurt us is also carrying their own pain, and when we see the suffering behind their wrong actions, our hearts become lighter. Forgiveness is not about excusing mistakes, but about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment and the weight we place on our own shoulders. Compassion benefits not only those we extend it to, but also ourselves, as it leads us to inner peace. By choosing to live with gratitude and compassion, we create a life filled with joy, love, and harmony. Living with compassion, embracing connection with all beings. Living with compassion helps us see our connection to all living beings. We do not exist in isolation, but are part of this vast universe. When we help others, we are also helping ourselves, because we are all interconnected within the fabric of life. Compassion is not solely about grand gestures. It is expressed through small, daily acts. A kind word of encouragement, a smile, or truly listening to someone can bring peace not only to others, but also to ourselves. Gratitude and compassion as pathways to true happiness. When we live with gratitude and compassion, we realize that happiness is not something distant, but something within reach for each of us. Happiness is not a treasure to be found somewhere far away, but a state we can create through our thoughts and actions every day. Gratitude frees us from feelings of lack and the endless cycle of desire. Compassion lifts us out of loneliness and shields us from the grip of negative emotions. The Buddha taught that true happiness arises from mindfulness, understanding, and compassion. When we live with mindfulness, we recognize the meaning in every moment, see every encounter as a blessing, and treasure each breath as a precious gift. Compassion connects us with others, allowing us to love without expectations and to share without seeking anything in return. By living with gratitude and compassion, we discover peace and authentic happiness, the very path to enlightenment. Letting go of attachments, the path to inner freedom. Continuing our journey of exploring the Buddha's teachings, we come to another crucial topic: letting go of attachments. This step is not easy, but is essential if we wish to attain inner freedom and release ourselves from the burdens that hold us back. Letting go does not mean abandoning everything, but freeing ourselves from clinging to things that entangle and preoccupy our minds. In daily life, we are often tied to what we consider ours. The material possessions we accumulate, our relationships, even the fame and achievements we acquire, all these become invisible strings that bind our minds. When we stubbornly hold on to these things, we become fearful and restless, afraid that one day we might lose them, that what we possess may no longer be ours. This fear keeps us from finding peace. Letting go does not mean giving up on life or neglecting the things around us. It means accepting that everything we have is impermanent and subject to change. When we understand that nothing lasts forever, we are no longer bound by these things. We will not suffer excessively from loss or desire too fervently to acquire. Instead, we will live with gratitude for what we have, and when it is gone, we will understand it as part of the natural order, that nothing truly belongs to us forever. Letting go of greed. One of the greatest attachments we must release is greed. Greed is not limited to a desire for material wealth. It also includes the craving for power and recognition. When greed dominates us, we become exhausted from chasing things with no end. We never feel satisfied, never content with what we have. But if we learn to let go of greed, to accept that we already have enough, our hearts will feel lighter. We will no longer be swept up in the endless cycle of wanting. Letting go of greed allows us to embrace a sense of contentment and find a deeper peace within ourselves. Have you ever wondered why happiness feels elusive? Have you ever asked yourself why true happiness seems out of reach, even when you already have so much? Perhaps it is greed, clinging, and fear that prevent us from peacefully enjoying what we have. When we let go of unnecessary desires, we find joy in simplicity. This joy does not arise from possession, but from freedom, a tranquility that comes from no longer being bound, letting go of resentment and painful memories. Another attachment we must learn to release is resentment and painful memories. We often carry with us the wounds of the past, allowing them to weigh heavily on our minds. Each time we recall those hurts, we relive the suffering. However, if we understand that what has happened is in the past and that resentment changes nothing but only perpetuates our pain, we will learn to let go. Releasing resentment is a way of freeing ourselves from unnecessary burdens, allowing our souls to find freedom and peace. By letting go of the pain, we create space for healing and renewal, liberating our hearts from the shadows of what no longer serves us. Letting go of judgment. Letting go also means releasing judgment. We often judge everything around us, others, situations, and even ourselves. Each time we judge, we place ourselves in a position of authority, creating a separation between us and others. Judgment prevents us from understanding and loving, leaving us isolated and closed off. When we let go of judgment, we become closer to others. We begin to see that everyone has their own story, their own reasons for being who they are. This understanding opens our hearts, and love flows naturally. Without judgment, we cultivate compassion, connection, and a sense of belonging, breaking free from the loneliness created by our own critical thoughts. Understanding, the key to letting go. In the process of letting go, understanding is the most essential element. Letting go does not mean forcing ourselves to forget or abandon something. It is about understanding the nature of things. When we realize that everything is impermanent and constantly changing, we naturally let go without effort. Letting go is a transformation of the mind, a way to liberate ourselves from attachments and the burdens that weigh down our souls. The Buddha taught that only by releasing all attachments can we find inner freedom and live fully and peacefully. Freedom does not come from owning more or less, but from a mind unbound, free from worries, fears, and resentment. When we let go, we feel our hearts open wide and see life as something beautiful and worth cherishing. True freedom lies in letting go. Letting go is not easy, but it is necessary if we want to find peace. Begin with small steps. Release a grudge, a fear, or an envy. Each time we let go of something, we feel a lightness and serenity within our hearts. Gradually, we will realize that life is no longer a continuous chain of attachment and suffering, but an opportunity to love, to live fully, and to embrace true freedom. Letting go is a journey of transformation, one that leads us to a life of peace, gratitude, and boundless possibilities. Finding peace within, the path to enlightenment. We have explored the Buddha's teachings on impermanence, compassion, gratitude, and letting go of attachments. Now, let us discuss the most crucial aspect of our spiritual journey, finding peace within ourselves. Peace is not something we can seek externally. It lies deep within our own hearts, waiting to be discovered and experienced by each of us. In a life full of upheavals, we often search for peace in external things, a quiet home, a stable job, or loving relationships. But such peace is temporary, as life is ever-changing, and what exists today may be gone tomorrow. If we base our peace on impermanent things, we will never find lasting serenity. This realization leads us to understand that true peace can only come from within, through understanding, acceptance, and mindfulness. Inner peace through understanding and acceptance. Inner peace arises from understanding the true nature of life. When we grasp that everything is impermanent and nothing lasts forever, we free ourselves from worries about the future and regrets about the past. This understanding helps us treasure the present moment and live fully with what we have. The present is the only reality we truly possess, and when we live in it with gratitude, we find peace. We are often distracted by thoughts of the past or future, which prevents us from experiencing the tranquility of the present. The Buddha taught that only when our minds are no longer pulled by memories of what has been or anxieties about what has yet to come can we truly live and feel peace. Mindfulness in every moment connects us to life, to stillness, and to the natural serenity within us. Mindfulness, the gateway to peace. Mindfulness is not about sitting still or withdrawing from the world, but about living with awareness and clarity of what is happening within our minds and bodies. When we eat, we know we are eating. When we breathe, we know we are breathing. When we feel sadness, we acknowledge it without denial or escape. Mindfulness allows us to see the true nature of our emotions, to recognize that they too are impermanent. They arise and fade. By not clinging to emotions, we free ourselves from their influence. This is the moment we find peace. Mindfulness helps us embrace life as it is, without resistance, revealing the profound calm and joy that reside within us. Acceptance, a pathway to inner peace. Another crucial element on the journey to finding peace is acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation, but an understanding that certain aspects of life are beyond our control. When we accept what cannot be changed, we stop wasting energy resisting reality. Instead, we learn to face challenges and difficulties with a calm mind, recognizing that they are all part of this journey. Acceptance lightens our burdens and frees us from the pressure to change the unchangeable, becoming a profound source of peace. Compassion and self-love, keys to inner serenity. Inner peace also stems from compassion and self-love. It is often easier for us to love and forgive others than to extend the same kindness to ourselves. We may blame ourselves for past mistakes, feel inadequate, or believe we are unworthy. But how can we find peace if we cannot love and forgive ourselves? When we learn to love ourselves, to see our mistakes as part of the process of learning and growing, we feel lighter. We release the weight of self-criticism and stop being haunted by our past. Loving ourselves means embracing our humanity, recognizing that imperfection is part of life, and allowing ourselves the same grace we offer to others, nurturing the seed of enlightenment. The Buddha taught that each of us carries the seed of enlightenment within us. Our task is to nurture that seed. Peace does not come from external sources, but resides within us, waiting to be recognized and cultivated. When we live with mindfulness, compassion, and acceptance, the seed of peace within our soul grows. In time, we discover that enlightenment is not a distant goal, but something attainable in this very lifetime. By embracing these teachings, we cultivate a life of serenity, clarity, and profound fulfillment. Have you ever felt the peace of a quiet morning? Have you ever experienced the tranquility of a calm morning, the sound of birds singing, or the gentle touch of a cool breeze? That is natural peace, the kind of peace we can feel when we are no longer controlled by worries or negative thoughts. This peace is always within us, waiting for us to awaken and recognize it. Life may be full of challenges, but when we learn to find peace from within, we can face difficulties with ease, free from pressure or stress. The path to enlightenment and peace. Ultimately, the path to enlightenment and peace is the path of understanding, acceptance, compassion, and love. Enlightenment is not something distant or unattainable. It is the awakening in each moment, the realization that we do not need to go anywhere to find peace. It has always been within us. Every time we live with mindfulness, every time we face life with compassion and acceptance, we take another step on the path to enlightenment, moving closer to true peace. Embracing the 10 insights of the Buddha. We have explored the 10 insights from the Buddha's teachings, each a precious piece of guidance that helps us discover peace, freedom, and enlightenment. Live with gratitude, cultivate compassion, let go of attachments, and find peace within yourself. This is how we create a meaningful life, a life filled with love and awakening. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploring the profound teachings of the Buddha. May each of us find true peace and happiness in this life.